All right, let's talk about something that's probably bugged all of us. You know that feeling when your AI assistant just doesn't get you? Well, we're going to look at a new AI framework that might finally fix that. This is all about making AI that actually remembers you.
So, let me just ask you this. Does your AI assistant really know you? I mean, really? You tell it you love a certain band, or you mention your new dog, and then, poof! It's like the conversation never happened. It feels like they have the memory of a goldfish, right? So, why is that?
Okay, to really get a handle on this problem, let's look at an example. Meet Anna. In this situation, she's talking about what she likes to drink in the summer. She says she enjoys a Sprite, and it's not just random, it's because the heat and noise can make her anxious. So that preference is tied directly to an emotion, to a specific feeling.
But here's the thing. People don't stay the same, right? We all change. Our tastes evolve, and that's exactly what happens with Anna. Over time, her preference shifts, and she starts reaching for a Coca-Cola instead. Now, this seems like such a simple human thing, but it's precisely this kind of natural shift where most AI assistants just completely fall flat.
And that right there, that's the heart of the issue. We're diving into AI's big memory problem, and we're going to figure out why your digital assistant seems to forget pretty much everything about you.
You know, the reason for this is actually surprisingly simple. Most of the powerful AI we use every day, they're built with a one-size-fits-all mindset. They're designed to be general problem solvers for anyone, not to build a long-term personal relationship with you.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this is the direct consequence, and it's pulled straight from the research paper itself. So, let's say Anna's feeling stressed later on. A standard AI might pull up that old memory, Anna, anxiety, Sprite, but it completely misses that she's changed. The paper puts it this way: a retrieval-augmented response fails to capture this shift, resulting in a misaligned recommendation. In other words, it's giving her old, totally outdated advice.
So this really sets up the big contrast here. On one hand, you've got this static AI, totally stuck in the past, relying on outdated info and fixed ideas about you. But on the other hand, the goal, the dream, is a dynamic AI, an assistant that can actually adapt and grow right alongside you. And that is the real challenge.
Okay, so how do we solve a challenge like that? Well, there's a new framework called PersonaVLM, and its creators think they've cracked the code. So let's dive in and see what this whole new kind of personal AI is all about.
And here it is, the system itself. This is PersonaVLM. Now, it's not just another large language model. Think of it as a complete framework, an agent that was designed from the ground up for one specific purpose: long-term personalization. It's a whole different way of building things. So what is it really? Well, the easiest way to think about PersonaVLM is as a special kind of framework. It takes a generic, one-size-fits-all assistant and transforms it into one that actually remembers you, can reason about your past conversations, and, this is the key, aligns its responses with your unique, always-evolving personality. It's literally designed to learn you over time.
Okay, that sounds fantastic in theory, but how does it actually work? Well, it all comes down to what you can think of as its three core superpowers.
The whole process is actually pretty elegant. First up is remembering. The AI is always on, proactively pulling out key bits of information from your chats and storing them away. Then comes reasoning. When you ask it something, it doesn't just search everything. It cleverly retrieves only the relevant memories to get the full context. And finally, response alignment. It takes all that understanding and tailors its answer specifically to the person you are right now, not the person you were 6 months ago.
All right, let's zoom in on that first superpower, remembering. We're going to take a peek inside the AI's brain, so to speak, and see how this memory system is built.
So, here's a great way to think about its memory. It's not like a search engine that just spits back facts it finds. No, it's much more like having a personal assistant who keeps this incredibly detailed diary all about you. It's jotting down your preferences, your history, your habits, everything.
And this isn't just a messy diary either. It's super organized. PersonaVLM uses 4 different kinds of memory to keep track of everything. You've got core memory. That's the basic stuff, like your name. Then there's semantic memory, for key facts about your life, like, say, your pet's name. Episodic memory is basically a timeline of all your past conversations. And last but not least, procedural memory, which keeps track of your habits, your goals, and your routines.
Okay, so enough with the theory. That all sounds good on paper, but let's see how it actually works in practice.
So we're back with Anna. She's having a stressful day. She turns to her assistant and asks for a suggestion. What do you think happens next?
And boom. This is the payoff. This is where it all comes together. So on the left, you see what a generic AI does. It gives that misaligned response, right? It remembers the word sprite and anxiety from the past and just gets it wrong. But now look at the right, PersonaVLM. It remembered the shift. It reasoned that her preference changed, and it correctly suggests a Coke. I mean, it seems like a tiny detail, but in terms of personalization, that's a world of difference.
And this isn't just a gut feeling that it's better. They can actually measure it. The results are pretty impressive. In their tests, PersonaVLM showed a 22.4% improvement in personalization compared to the baseline model. I mean, that is a huge leap forward.
And this chart really puts things into perspective. Check it out. PersonaVLM doesn't just beat a simple baseline model. It actually scores higher on this specific test for personalization than even GPT-4o. And that's one of the most powerful, most advanced models on the planet right now. That's pretty wild.
So, what does all this add up to? Let's zoom out for a second and think about the future of personal AI and why any of this really matters in the grand scheme of things.
Because, let's be real, this is about so much more than just getting better drink recommendations. That's just a really simple, clear way to show off a much, much bigger idea.
The potential here is genuinely transformative. I mean, just think about it. In healthcare, you could have an AI assistant that remembers a patient's entire medical history, their anxieties, their preferences. Or in education, a personal tutor that adapts to how a student learns, not just for one lesson, but over their entire school career. Think about recommendation services that finally get you in your changing tastes. And even in companionship. Imagine an empathetic AI that can offer real, meaningful interaction because it has a shared history with you.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty fascinating question to think about. When your AI knows you this well, when it remembers your history and adapts to who you are, at what point does it stop being just a tool? And does it start becoming something more? Maybe even something like a friend?